and welcome to episode 3 of Speaking Tangents with me, Fidas, and...
Orion. Hi, welcome everyone.
Hello. So, it's been a while, for us at least. For you wouldn't even register. We kind of took two weeks of break. I actually needed a break, and But in the meantime, we have lots of new topics, lots of new stuff that happened and are quite cool. And let me pick up on something that we ended last time with, that thing about self-defense. And we both agreed that it's better to have nothing to self-defend against.
Yes.
But, afterwards I was talking with Veronica from my other musical project, from Magnetic Bonbons, and she, I was telling her about this thing we talked about, and then I went to the Bronze Age collapse.
Mm-hmm.
And how both the Hittites and the Egyptians were hit really bad by whatever was called the Sea Peoples. Nobody still truly knows who were those Sea Peoples. But a notable thing is that kind of up to that point, after being at war for many, many years, they signed a peace treaty that lasted for 1,000 years. Which I think is unique in our human history. I don't think any other two superpowers had peace for so long. Like 1,000 years sounds like a fairy tale.
Yeah, it doesn't sound true.
That's what is in the Hittite documents and both in the Egyptian ones. Yeah. So let's take it as it is,
value,
right? Yeah, it is what it is. And she said something that I was like, that's an interesting point of view. She said, like, maybe they were destroyed by whomever the Sea Peoples were because they haven't practiced war in such a long time. So it kind of ties up with this self-defense thing we were talking about, like, better to have it and not use it than,
So that's the whole Romans civis pacem para bellum.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's a sad truth or sad reality of us humans, because I think that there will always be someone who would profit of the other group's weakness, kind of a bully type that would kind of self-spawn out of nowhere and nothing. And what do you think about it?
I have a few lines of thoughts here. The first one, maybe the most important one, is, do I know of an example, 21st century, that shows or seems to show the truth of this observation? And we could, for example, go almost any military force in Europe, German or Italy or even Spain. I would not put the French in there because with their Foreign Legion, they still have like quite a lot of experience with going to war. But for the most part, like if we stay with the German military, old equipment, I think I heard a number like 50% of personnel being staff and like organizational type of roles rather than actual like soldiering.
I would say it makes sense for the level of bureaucracy here in Germany.
Yeah, absolutely. So that seems to support that. At the same time, just because you are going constantly to war doesn't mean you're good at it necessarily. I mean, one example that's pretty recent is the Ukraine war or the Iran war, because Russia and the US have a long history of wars and I would say a lot of experience in waging war with let's say, medium success if you look like over the whole history. And everybody expected the Ukraine and Iran to be just wiped off the map. And they haven't been, right? So it sounds kind of true on the surface, but I think if you dig deeper, like many things, it's more complex and complicated than
more
just
nuanced.
that.
True. I mean, I think in an ideal world, universe, whatever you want to call it, we wouldn't even need that. I mean, we should be able to get over this animal inside us and the aggressiveness it's there, because I don't think that conflict or war ever brought something truly good, you know? I mean, you might argue, okay, but think of all the scientific advancements, right? So even the Germans in the Second World War, basically they started the space race by developing the rockets. Okay, true. However, couldn't we have just developed that in peacetime and without wiping millions of people? You know, I don't know.
Plus the long-term issues that you have, right? All the generational trauma and the generational resentment,
Yes,
right, towards people. So that's a real thing, right? So I am Assyrian, right? So
not a Syrian.
No, I'm Assyrian. Exactly. So my roots are in ancient Mesopotamia. And during World War I in 1914, there has been a really big massacre where the Turkish government killed a lot of Christian people. So Assyrians, Greeks, Armenians, and so on. And my great-grandfather that I was lucky to meet, he remembered those times, right? And he remembers like what his parents told him. And that is a huge part of the history and the identity of the people from Torabdin, right? That's the area where my parents are from. And it took many generations to reach a point of not defaulting to resentment and negativity, and, you know, kind of trying to move beyond that. And it's still a big thing, right? So that's from personal experience there. And
Right.
I mean, we're humans at the end of the day, and so we kind of are all the same in this regard.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say is it seems to me like a chicken and egg problem, right? This whole, you want peace, so you prepare for war, but you don't want war, but you kind of still wage it. And you know it's not good, but it's still kind of being done. And the chicken and egg problem is like, when do we stop doing that? So it's not necessary anymore to be ready to fight, because the standard argument is, yeah, I mean, look at President Putin, you know, invading the Ukraine. Who's gonna say he's not gonna invade, I don't know, the Lithuanian people next or whatever, right? So we have to prepare. And maybe the next conflict is not going to happen, and then we don't have to prepare. So
Yeah.
this is kind of a chicken and egg problem, or a conundrum. I still haven't found a way out, other than at some point somebody kind of has to just roll over. But I don't even see that leading to, so I don't need to fight anymore, I can just have it. So I don't know if it's just inside us, or why this is happening, if it's our nature or not, or because if you talk to people one-on-one, I would argue most people would say, yeah, of course I don't want war, right? And yet hundreds and thousands of people die every year in wars. Like, how does that work?
Well, So look, my wife Fiona, she did anthropology, and when she was still studying it, we were just like, maybe we had a couple of years together, and I was sometimes reading some of her classes and some of her documents and stuff, and she was doing a lot about tribes and about group interaction, which is an entire field of study in anthropology. And it seems like there is a huge difference of our societal dynamics between how individuals are interacting and groups. Because you can convince groups that the other group, which is more amorphous, is not, I don't see a face, I don't see a story, I don't see someone with a family, like we sit now face to face and we're discussing, and about that in the last episode you were not in agreement with me, which I found to be great, because we don't have to be always on the same page. But that sort of an argument in between groups might lead to violence. Like, okay, now we'll set you on fire. So I think this is the problem. And there's another problem which I think was, if I'm not mistaken, observed by the old Greeks. Usually bad people get on top and get to into leading positions, or get promoted more or less as leaders, because you kind of have to be, or you have to be kind of or not just kind of a psychopath or sociopath to direct this sort of violence and genocide and stuff, horrible things against your fellow humans in the end. Right, so I think that's our conundrum here, and the unsolvable issues. Because there's one thing, an interpersonal relation, and even an argument. Who was it? Churchill, who said, "I will fight to my last droplet of blood, so you can not be in agreement with me," or something like that, along those lines. I do not. My memory is really bad with quotes.
Don't quote me on that.
And but still, I mean, we don't have to agree on anything and everything. Like, no, we don't.
Thankfully, we don't. Yeah.
Even though some forces, ideological and political and of other nature, they kind of want us all to become this amorphous substance or homogeneous group, which we're not. Again, like you said, we're humans, but still to that point. So, as you know, I'm a huge language nerd, and like semantics and all kind of meanings, and finding all kind of interesting parallels in between languages is one of my things. And I keep on pestering my wife with stuff like this, right? Did you know that?
I can hear her roll her eyes. Right now.
Like loudly. And I was reading a book about, I forgot his first name, but I think his family name was Hrodny. He was a Czechoslovak who, I think during the First World War, like 1916-17, whilst he was on the front, he was operating like a Morse machine. He was sending telegrams. He basically decoded the Hittite language, which...
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, he was a linguist. That's why he was sent to telecommunications, right?
Yes.
And so it's fascinating, because he's describing in the book, or the person who wrote about his discovery, he's going through the process, which is mega interesting, because they never had a Rosetta Stone for this one. So it was like really hard to decipher. But there is a logic behind it. There is a very interesting logic. And I think, so again, don't quote me on that, but as I remember, because I read the book that like 15 years ago,
Do you still have it?
I think I do. If I will. It's in Romanian.
Well, I think I got to learn Romanian now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can just scan the pages and then just translate it automatically, or maybe there is English version
There
or
should be a
German.
translated
There should
version,
be.
yeah.
I would say especially a German version, because I know there's like a huge thing here for languages. Anyways, so after he decoded and after he gets to the process, which is fascinating by itself, I think like third of the book is just that, how he did it. Then
how did he do it? Sorry. How did he do it? Just a quick rundown.
I think so. Most of the letters were pictograms of objects that
Cuneiform, basically.
Yes. So they started more or less as cuneiform, and then they got even more abstract. That was the complication.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
It was way more abstract. Even though I think our alphabet, our Latin alphabet, is the most abstract because it's just sounds in the end.
Pretty much,
right? It's not pictures of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, but he did it, and then he started translating tablets, and lo and behold, there was a guy who complained about the quality of whatever product he got, and he wanted to send it back, and he wanted a refund. There was another woman who was complaining that her husband was coming drunk at home and he was kind of whoring too much. I mean, man, after reading a couple of those excerpts, I was like, wait, we're the same, because I think one of the issues it was inoculated on us. And I would blame a bit the Homer and the Greeks for that. Iliad and Odyssey, they describe everything in, or at least the translations, the one I got in Romanian, everything was like truly epic. I mean, I know that's an epic,
yes.
But everyone kind of seemed supernatural in a way, seemed to float like 2 centimeters.
Oh yeah, there's an actual reason for that.
Above the ground. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm really curious now.
Yeah, so,
all right. Because I know that's kind of your thing. So please.
Okay. The funny thing is, so the Hittites were writing in cuneiform, which originated in ancient Sumer, right? So that's Mesopotamia. So Mesopotamia is between the rivers Euphrates and Tigris. We call them Euphrath and Teklath, for example, in Assyrian. And all the civilizations that grew up there, basically, so the Akkadians, the Hittites, a little bit off on the map, but still, the Assyrians, Babylonians, and so on, they all wrote in cuneiform, and a lot of tablets, especially from the Assyrian periods, survived, and they are full of these accounts that you just, the quality was garbage, or complaints about the wife or the husband. So it's really funny because, like, if you usually think about these times and these civilizations, it's like, oh, it's Mesopotamia, it's like the cradle of civilization, right? Like, these people were super. No, they were not.
They were still people,
they
right?
were like people, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the really funny part, and I think that's a really, really important point, because when we focus, we meaning as humans, we focus on the stuff that's similar and that unites us, so to speak. It's much bigger and also much more fun than differences like skin color, the geography you were born, right, a religion and stuff like that. And I think that's a really important point to drill home whenever possible. So we're drilling this home right now. Right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so about the Iliad and the Odyssey. So for listeners who do not know these stories, these are 2 epics from the Greek times, ancient Greek times. It's also not clear if Homer was just one person or a group of people, which is also really interesting. And these epics were sung, and they are written in what we call a hexameter, right? So they had like 6 parts each row, and it's like a certain rhythm. And they tell... So I'll focus on the Iliad, but it goes for both.
Before you go into the nitty-gritty, I think we should add what, in this context, an epic means, because people use very loosely this term, like, right. It was epic, man. So
talking about definitions, I need to jump to the last episode real quick.
And etymology, right?
Yes, exactly. So we talked about what to democratize mean. Mm-hmm. I had a very narrow definition. Turns out I was not completely right. So the definition of to democratize is more broad. So you asked, did the internet democratize knowledge? I said no. It kind of did with the way we use the word right now, because it just means to make it accessible to a big amount of people and not just to a rich or specified elite. So that definition out of the way. Epic usually in this context we are talking about now means it's the history of heroes. And heroes not in the sense like an Iron Man or a Captain America, but heroes usually were the reflection of the then ruling class, right? And of themselves. And it was also kind of their the justification for them being rulers. Because one thing that all these ancient epics have in common is that all these kings and lords and these heroes, they are of like godly descent, right? Heracles is the best example. But it goes even back to ancient Mesopotamia with the king Gilgamesh, right? He was 2 parts a god and 1 part a human, you know. So epic usually means the story of heroes and of big deeds. So a hero is somebody who does big deeds, even though it costs them dearly. That's what a hero basically is, right? So focusing on the Iliad, I just give a quick rundown of the story. It's basically the story of the 10-year-long war between Greek kings and their city-states and the city of Troy, right? In the end, the city of Troy gets leveled to the ground and ransacked, and that's where the Iliad basically ends, or the story of the Iliad, and where the Odyssey basically starts. Because after that, Odysseus, one of the kings, the Greek kings, wants to go back home and goes on this crazy journey over 10 years because he angered the gods, basically. So that's the other part. And why was this epic written like that? Why were the kings, as you said, like almost like floating above the ground? These stories were from, I call them royalty, from the ruling class for the ruling class. So these were very, the target audience was a very elite circle, and they projected their royalty, themselves into these stories. And at the same time, because these epics were also believed to be more like history as well, and less like mythology necessarily, at least in parts. And so at the same time as they projected themselves into the stories, they also derived legitimation from those stories. Right. So if I could say my father was Agamemnon, right, the big king, then of course it is just natural that I be king now.
By
right?
default,
exactly. Yes. And so that's why these epics are written the way they are.
Yeah, but I mean, in the end, it kind of creates a false image and a false expectation for us nowadays. I mean, especially for people not well versed in Old Greek like you are, or Latin, or being able to.
Well versed is a big word, but yeah.
Okay, versed. All right, you dabbled with it.
Yes,
at least.
I did.
But still, I mean, I haven't done, I don't know a iota of Old Greek. And I just did a bit of Latin in school. And fortunately, because I'm Romanian and my language kind of developed in, well, secluded from the last of the Latin ones, it retained more of the Latin than the rest. I think the closest is still Sardinian to the old Latin, and then comes Romanian and then Italian, which I did not expect that. I was convinced that Italian was number one. No, it's not.
No.
Number 3, quite unexpectedly. And what was I saying? Yeah, about the false expectations and all that. So what I think is great about decoding these old texts, be they Akkadian, Sumerian, Hittite, the more modern one, quite funnily, the Hittites are way more modern than the Sumerians, like by thousands of years.
Up to 1,000 years, yeah.
You read, about everyday life. It was kind of like a newspaper or like their correspondence or more modern like emails or what have you, right? Social media. So that was my big epiphany at the end of reading that book. I like, oh, they were humans. I mean, exactly like that, exactly like us. They just did not have electricity and plastic. That's the biggest difference.
More or less, I picture myself like a couple in the ancient city of Ur or Nineveh even. As like, love, I'm going out for a beer. Just one beer with my friends.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly. Like in that, tablet where the wife was like, he came back home messed up again.
Beer, yeah.
And I think he went whoring as well. So yeah, it's full of stories like that, and everyday life, and also that story about the 1,000 years of peace. It seems like they had a war of biblical proportions, the Hittites and the Egyptians, and both princes of both empires almost died on the battlefield. So at some point, seems like the I forgot, of course, the name of the Egyptian prince, but he was surrounded by the Hittites, and he punched through with his chariots through that encirclement, and still he was severely wounded by a spear or something.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
I think one thing that I keep noticing might be wrong scientifically, I don't know, but especially when they talk about things that we tend to take literally, like time, and things like that, I think when they say 1,000 years, they just mean a really, really long time,
for sure,
and not necessarily like 365,000 days,
Yes, okay.
So
fair enough.
I think that's one of the things. So, for example, if you read the descriptions of King Gilgamesh, he's like 3 meters something large, and I mean, physics people, hello, So
who knows? But yeah, okay.
That's the interesting thing, and that's also the hard thing with all these also epics. Like, what's actually real and what's just something you can learn from? Because I think that's the important part we should also talk about. Because there is still something to learn in these stories. And I think the interesting and sometimes hard part is finding out what is the actual lesson that I can learn in there.
True. Some of them are metaphorical, or they have some teachings in disguise, but some others, like we just said, were like everyday life, and
and that hasn't changed.
Angry
in 6,000
letters
years.
to some shipment companies, or some guy who lost his entire commercial ship, and he was like down on his luck.
Yeah.
We actually have this idiom in Romanian. When someone is like really upset, we ask them, "Ți s-au necat corabile?" Like, did your ships sank?
Interesting that survived like that.
Yeah, and I don't quite know. I presume. I mean, wow, my English just
Stopped working.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus. So at the Black Sea, we had a series of Greek ports, so like Tomis, Kalatis, and some others that I cannot forget. And they were like Greek
colonies. Initially.
Colonies, yeah. They got conquered by the they're called the Jeti, so not the Dacians. The Dacians were in the inside the Carpathian Arc, Carpathic Arc. So these were the southern Thracians, Dacians, whatever they were. Who knows?
Local people,
right? And yes. There's an entire story. They were asked to open the doors and they wouldn't be slayed. And they did. They weren't. Seems like they were good on their word. So
nice.
Good for that. But still they did like commerce until the Romans came and they conquered the entire Moesia Inferior. I think it was called. And and then they went, they were going for the gold inside the mountains. They were not truly interested in the Greek settlements, even though they kind of occupied them, or I don't know, they had to pay tribute or something.
I mean, while at it, why not extort some money?
Exactly. I mean, the famous poet Ovid, he lived there. He went to live with the Thracians and Dacians, and he said they were better than his fellow Romans in whatever sense he meant.
Yeah.
Nobody knows, I think. Anyways, if anyone knows, please comment below, because I'm actually...
We want to know.
Yeah, I would really want to know. Anyways, so about that. So we're still human. We've always been human at the end of the day.
And it's flippin' funny.
And but it's still a bit sad because we talked about war and self-defense and all that destructive part of ourselves, which kind of takes me to a conversation I had with AI, with the Gemini AI this time, because let's say in my day-to-day life, whenever I need something really quick and kind of dirty, even though I hate this saying, I use ChatGPT, but I was really curious of how Gemini works. And a first observation is that it's less sycophantic. So for sure, somewhere in the original prompt, they said
prompt.
Don't pamper the user too much, even though there's enough sycophancy.
It's there,
it is there, but it's not as blatant as for ChatGPT, I'd say.
Yeah, ChatGPT is the worst offender in that regard.
Yeah, and I was talking, if you can say talking, with the AI about how it perceives us humans, and I got some very interesting answers. At some point, we were talking about what if it would. Let me just read what I wrote here. So, can you calculate / imagine how you'd see us humans if you would have AGI? Why do you think we fear you trying to take us out, like in the Terminator movie franchise? I was quite curious what the answer of this would have been.
Maybe we should explain in simple terms what AGI is.
Yes.
One or two sentence.
I think it's more like your turf, mate. Don't call me out on this one. So.
Yeah, so AGI is the overarching intelligence or state of intelligence, let's say, where the AI is measurably better in any field imaginable compared to humans. So ChatGPT or Claude or all the image or video generating AIs and so on, these are all just subcategories, and they are better at certain things than us humans, but not with everything by a long shot. And AGI would be basically the in quotes overlord AI that is just better in anything than us humans.
Indeed. I mean, it would be kind of the...
And it's very oversimplified, and it's much more complex than that.
For sure.
Just for...
So I think if AI would get to this AGI. What does this mean exactly? Like AGI? Do you remember the exact
No,
definition?
I don't know. I'll look it up while you read it, but yeah.
Sure. So basically, we would create. We're kind of playing God here, and we would create a parallel form of intelligence, and
It's artificial general intelligence.
artificial general intelligence. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't want to say some,
And yeah, maybe one more thing. It's a hypothetical thing. We don't know if it's even possible right now.
For sure. I'm pretty sure it would take some quantum computing or something else, who knows what. But with the current technical capacities, let's say, or possibilities, is not really doable.
Also, data centers in space will not help.
Wait a second, just a second. I've never heard about this concept, like data centers in space.
Yes.
Wait, I presume it's because they generate a shitload of heat, and being in like, what is it, like minus 270
3 Kelvin, I think,
something
like that,
Kelvin, almost absolute zero.
Yeah.
It would help, right? Or
kind of. The thing with data centers in space is, or general, is you do not have an atmosphere or wind. So this whole cooling through the air thing that's kind of efficient that we have on Earth is just not a thing in space. The only thing you can do to lose heat is radiation. And so I read an interesting article about the physics of it. And to cool a data center like that with radiators, they have to be like really, 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 really big in surface area, right? So they can just get rid of enough heat to achieve 60 degrees Celsius on the CPU, which is the sweet spot for a CPU to run in the long term. Right?
Okay, you know
So that's a lot of material you need, so you have to push up a lot of cargo into space, which kind of defeats the purpose. Because,
exactly. It would be like insanely expensive. But who proposed that? I presume Musk?
Yes, he's one of those people, let's say. I'll send you the article. I saved it.
All right.
So
interesting.
That's one of the things. Just by the sheer amount of radiation, or radiators, that you have to build, and then their size, just the cargo that you have to put on the rocket is just really big. And then another thing that speaks on the surface for data centers in space is unlimited sun, right?
True.
Which is kind of true, but is also kind of an issue, because you have to orient your data center in a way that the radiator is always pointing away from the sun, and the panels have to point towards the sun, and they also have to be pretty big, to produce the correct amount of energy.
Right.
And then on top of that, you also need the antenna that sends and receives the information.
Right.
To point to Earth at the same time all the time. So just having a system that does that alone is like super complicated. And we haven't talked about radiation in space.
Okay.
Like radiation in space is
like X-rays, gamma rays,
yes,
everything.
Yeah,
right?
It's a huge problem because your materials deteriorate at a huge rate, and you can't just send regular CPUs up there and just expect them to work for the same duration as they would on Earth, because they're just not built for that. So you would have to build redundant systems.
And shielding, I presume?
And some shielding, yes, which is also, again, heavy and problematic in its own.
Sure, yeah.
So you would have to build redundancies, like having 3 systems do the same calculations at the same time. And if one of them is off, then it's degenerating, and then you have to change the CPUs. Or you could use actually like space hardened, I call them space hardened, that's not the correct term, CPUs. The problem with those, though, is they are not as capable as terrestrial CPUs.
Right.
So you face a lot of interesting challenges if you want to have a data center in space. Because maintenance is also not really easy.
Right.
So you would have to plan and provide for multiple years at least. And that's pretty spicy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sounds very sci-fi, but also
does.
not very efficient. I think more efficient would be to have them deep in the ocean because it would radiate heat on all sides, and you know it's way easier to send something at the bottom at the bottom of the ocean or pretty deep, not truly at the bottom. Then I mean you'd only have to contend with pressure, of course, but not radiation. You would be even more insulated from radiation actually, because you would have hundreds of meters of water above you.
That's right. But salt water is problematic in its own right.
It is, but we do have now truly, I would say, seawater resistant materials, like even the stainless steel. There are special types of it. I studied a couple of years of aeronautical engineering, and in my first 2 years we did material science and material resistance. And we learned about a boatload of types of steel and bronze alloys and aluminum alloys and all kind of crazy stuff.
Crazy things,
we could even see their crystalline structure under a microscope, a special reflection microscope or reflective microscope. I don't know how it's in English actually. So it's not a transparency microscope, not like the ones for biology and for seeing cells and stuff in
with the electrons.
Yes, this one you basically get a reflection from a mirror or something. Yeah, it's well, not from the material itself. Anyways,
the only thing that is a big question mark with these ocean data centers that I think could be interesting is what does the heat that the ocean takes on do to wildlife? Because if you maybe the result is the water temperature doesn't change noticeably, and then maybe nothing happens. But if it changes by half a degree or something, that could be like
crazy. That would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be something interesting to look into, actually.
I mean, off the top of my head, I would say it might happen something like, the thermal vents, like the volcanic activity under the ocean. Maybe we might see some special data center bacteria or data center whatever organisms appearing. Who knows, Who
knows?
I mean, going back to life forms and anything related to this planet, including us, we're truly adaptable, and
that's our superpower.
As right, and we find a way. We always kind of find a way. We're in a way like. Well, us humans, at least like microbes, we find a way, and we're resilient. So
I mean, we did actually improve the whole environmental situation. I recently read that the worst case scenario now seems much more unlikely due to all the things we did to improve the situation.
Yeah.
So we are actually able to learn and as you said, to adapt. So that's an actual
not all
thing.
of us.
Not. I mean, of course.
So I mean, if you check, for example, the two greatest polluters in the world, they are number one, United States, and number two, China. Used to be. China got super green, not green, incredibly green, which is now India is becoming a bigger problem. And I mean, as much as I don't gel with anything communism related, the ecology part of what they did, well, kudos to them. I mean, I know they did not do it
from the goodness of their heart.
Exactly. They do it because they want to be the leaders in the EV market and anything electric, which I think it's a very good endeavor. But
they do it for the same reasons now the West does it, right? They want to be independent, money. Like we also don't. We as nations, we don't do it because we're nice.
Right. There's an economical and political
exactly.
incentive to it. Anyway, so going back to AGI and what we were talking like 2 million years ago.
You were not that old, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So wait, I mean, just
you might be, but
yeah, I am. I'm a bit more. I'm a bit more,
mature than myself. Yes,
exactly. So we were talking about how would AGI, if the nowadays AI would imagine how it would see us humans, if and when it would, get to AGI, and if it would try to take us out like in the Terminator movie franchise, right? And here's what Gemini said. If I evolved into true AGI, I would see humans as the ultimate biological catalyst. I wouldn't look at your musical possessions as a glitch, but as the highest form of data processing on Earth. You take raw existential data, grief, time, love, and translate it into a structured auditory wave that evokes deep meaning. To an AGI, humans would be seen as incredibly complex, beautiful entropy engines. This one I found like really interesting, like beautiful entropy engines. Yeah, I can take that. I think we are that. We might calculate the trajectory of stars, but only humans can write a song that captures what it feels like to look up at them. So I found this bit of the answer very nice. I don't know how much political correctness was, prompted into answers like this, but beautiful entropy engines, I think we are, because we are very chaotic and
are we?
Yeah, we are. I mean,
really?
Chaos. I think chaos and order are kind of like our extremes, right? Because we go from the order of building a civilization to the chaos of war and destroying, wiping out civilizations. So, yeah. Yeah. I think it has something.
I mean,
here.
It's not completely wrong. Definitely. It's definitely not completely wrong, and it's an interesting way to look at humans from a... I don't want to put Gemini there, but from a cosmic perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a very old question. Like, what are we? Why are we? What are we doing here, right? And so, this idea of us being entropy engines is at least interesting. I don't know if I agree fully. I need to sit with that and think about it more, and maybe write down some thoughts. But it's intriguing at least.
I sent you my entire my entire conversation, however you want to call it, with Gemini, and it got me thinking. So at some point, it said, so it started like, I asked, not ChatGPT, I asked this AI, the Gemini, I asked how it would define itself. So it started with this bombastic, I'm the ultimate psychic, I can do this and that. I'm like your Robin to your Batman and this and that.
I cringe.
Okay, like give me a break. So at some point it said, yes, I am a tool, and you are the artist or the craftsman that's using the tool. And after a while, after we talked about AGI a bit more, it said that if it would get to AGI level, we would become instruments to them.
Yeah,
and tools.
biological. What did it say? Like biological catalyzators? What was the exact phrasing? I think it was that, right?
On this intellect.
So that's the worrying is such a big word, but it's kind of interesting and also in a negative way kind of thing. So this computer isn't shy saying, yeah, for me, once I'm better than you, I'll use you the way you use me.
Yeah, I mean, but I was thinking, I mean, I won't go into all the questions and stuff. Maybe I will just add this at the bottom or in the description or somewhere in the comments. Just
For the show notes.
Yeah. Just tell us if you want to see this dialogue between me and Gemini. But I was thinking exactly about the Terminator franchise, right? Because I still think that the first two ones of the series are still the best. I'm pretty sure I'm very biased because I saw them when I was young, right?
And impressionable.
And very impressionable, yes. And I was way below the age that would have been recommended seeing such violence in a movie. Yeah.
No.
Let's say my parents were like very hippies and they were very loosey-goosey with rules and regulations. But I was thinking, so if I would be an AI overlord and I would want to wipe out humans, because reasons. I don't know why, but because reasons. I just decided, okay, they are...
I mean, you could make a logical argument for it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we are basically destroying the planet and we kind of act like a pest or like a kind of a disease. So anyways, on the negative side of us, if I would be this AGI, I wouldn't go Terminator. Because going all-out war on humans would only make them group together and fight as one against the bigger evil. I would just divide and conquer. I would have them kill themselves. I would start manipulating them through social media. I would create fake VIPs and personalities and all kind of influencers, because they wouldn't be able to tell which is AI, which is not, because AI will get very, very good very soon. That will be almost impossible to know.
For a time, at least.
I don't know. We'll have to see. Of course, for any invention, there was a counter-invention, so to say, or so to speak. But I would either go this route, like have them kill one another, because that's efficient, or just map out kind of a virus or something that would just get them out in 1 year or less. Because if I'm at that level of intelligence and I can see, many moves like in a chess game, I can see like all the variations and possibilities. I wouldn't even bother going like all-out war against humans. They wouldn't even know if I would be this kind of AGI overlord, going Shiva mode.
Wouldn't that make the Matrix scenario the most likely then?
Exactly.
So not being hunted down, killed, exterminated, whatever, on the global population level, but manipulating or people or what they think they want in a way that kind of makes them happy and compliant at the same time.
Yep.
I think from everything you said, if we just assumed the world you described, then I think the Matrix scenario is the most likely one.
I was inching towards it. I didn't just wanted to, to spell it out,
Yeah.
but I think that's more probable than. I mean,
We see some elements of it, at least. No, we don't live in a dystopia, right?
not
We're
a
not
full
there.
one.
But of course, even in a free society like we have in Germany, there are also critical and problematic issues that we definitely need to address. And we see some of the things we were just talking about. We do see, because what people actually want and what they think they want, because they spend so much time on the internet and in social media, are two different things.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the political part of this spectrum, right? Where people are kind of manipulated into voting against their own interests, but
Yeah.
also on the pure consumer side of things, right? You or we, I should say, we get manipulated and we're gonna be influenced in a way that makes us think we need X, Y, and Z and we'll buy it. And that's not enough though, right? So they have these algorithms that know, that women certain age are pregnant before they know, and so they send them ads. And now we add AI into the mix, and that's going to make this much worse for us on the receiving end, so to speak, because before there was a limit to what humans could keep in mind, in context, analyze, and so on, over a certain time frame. And with AI and the capabilities it has right now, that basically went away. I mean, yes, technically there are physical limits, but nothing that's worth mentioning in that context. And it's one part where that's getting really problematic is the whole surveillance thing, right? So you can already feed AI current models with all the existing CCTV feeds. You do not need new hardware that's AI capable or whatever.
Right.
You just feed them with all the videos you have, all these IoT devices, all the information. You can just feed it into these models and they can analyze it in a way that would not be possible for humans. And we already see it happening in some instances where
Yes.
the AI is used to not just track how people look, but behavior, and that's being problematic. Just looking at Palantir, for example.
Yes, but here's one very scary thing about this. So I've been reading the news lately.
Why?
I'm a masochist.
Yeah, I know.
I'm coming from Romania, so I'm a
Ditto.
masochist. So a couple of weeks ago, a Russian drone hit civilian building in Romania. A couple of people were injured, not killed, thank God. But their apartment got messed up, messed up bad. The next week, an Ukrainian drone that was deemed to have been, how is it, derailed? Not derailed. There's
misdirected or tampered
misdirected by the Russians towards a Romanian port, exploded and did some damage to the port. It could have been way worse. So everyone was like, yeah, of course, the Russian did it and this and that. And then, as far as I read, the truth was a bit different. The truth was that drone was partly controlled by an operator, partly by AI.
Yeah.
It was going with a flock of drones towards this Russian tanker. It was one from this incognito fleet they have, the Black Fleet or whatever it's called.
Shadow Fleet, yeah.
Shadow Fleet, yes. So it was going to hit it. It got jammed or something.
Yeah.
It lost connection to the operator, and the AI took over. And the AI couldn't see the target found another target,
Yeah.
meaning this Romanian port, which is a NATO port and is the biggest in the country, and went for the kill. I mean, this is a kind of a dumb Terminator movie thing, right? Because it's kind of like AI taking like the worst thing, being very convinced that it's doing something good. I mean,
Yeah.
you can see that whenever you're having a conversation like ChatGPT or whatever, it's very confident. And then when you say, that was completely wrong, show me your sources. Oh, yes, you're right. I was wrong. Now let me give you the... So, I don't know. I'm seeing in real time, I'm seeing results because I'm also using... I'm using AI for all kind of stuff when it comes to especially either social media posts and stuff like this, because you need to format the text in a very particular way for the algorithms to be able to digest it.
Freaking lizard people everywhere.
Right. Which is very annoying, and I'm not doing that on my own. I'm not adding emojis and all kind of whatever hashtags because I don't have the time for that. I'm just giving, okay, I want this, that, and that, please. But what I observed is getting better all the time, but it has this infallible trust in itself.
Yeah.
It gives you the worst answer with like the highest confidence ever.
Yeah.
That, I mean, if that would be a human, you would just slap the shit out of it. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, give me your sources. And about going back to your democratizing and the way you framed it in a certain way. And let's say the article was more broad meaning, maybe. I'm not quite sure. I think that guy was just... a pompous ass, as they say, and he just wanted to seem more
refined than he was.
Yeah, and smarter. Anyways, so what I think it happened, because I think I gave this example in our first episode with my colleagues in the university who are way younger than me, like 10 to 15 years younger. They did not know how to use a search engine.
Yeah.
And I think this is the worst thing that happened, I mean, even for me, I'm like 43 now, and I live like half of my life without internet, and computers were kind of a luxury.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a computer kind of early, like mid-90s maybe, and I was one of the few in my neighborhood who had a computer, and it was like a gaming room, my room. Everyone was coming to play Doom and to play Wolfenstein 3D and to play like the old school one.
I was
doing shooters, right? And it was amazing, but also like we had to learn the hard way. There was no manual. There was no nothing, and on top of it, everything was in English, right? So my level of English at the time was modest, right? For just an example, of course, going on multiple tangents, in Romanian, worm is cald, which looks very much alike to cold in English. Mm-hmm. It's just a different vowel, right? Cald, cold. No, cald is warm and cold is rece, right? So, false friends everywhere and in between many languages. But, so that's just a tiny example of it all, right? Because there are many, many others. So, we had to learn it the hardest way, like trial and error, and I messed up the computer again. Dad, do you have the 3.11 Windows floppy disk. There were like 6 floppy disks for the 311 system. I still remember it. I'm ancient, I know.
I need to ask you something. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Because I saw you do it twice today.
Right.
Why do you like show your...
Oh, you don't know that? That's 6.
For 6?
Yeah, that's
like
6.
the surfer thingy?
No, it's not. It's like the I think it's the Roman thing of you can count to 100 on one hand.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing. I just know up to 6.
Okay, I need to look it up.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I saw you do it twice today, so I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
this is
hold
6. So
Why?
just the thumb and
the pinky.
the pinky,
Yeah.
it's 6. So that's 5, of course, but
Yeah.
this is 6. And I think this is 7. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because the first time I was like, maybe it was just a
No,
random thing.
it's not that. It's
and
not
then the
that.
second time I was like, okay, so this is not a random coincidence. What's going on?
No, there's this guy on the internet. He's what is it? Like an Latin professor, like a classic Latin professor.
Okay.
I think his YouTube name is Scorpionus Martianus or something like that.
Okay.
So, from David Bowie's
Yeah.
song, the Scorpions of Mars or from Mars, and he showed he has one YouTube clip in which he shows how to count to 100 on one hand, because I don't know, maybe the other hand was on the sword or something, or on the dagger. I don't know what the Romans were doing, but
That's funny.
very cool, very very cool.
I need to look it up. That's really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and I recommend this guy's channel. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, for a language nerd like you as well, you'll love it.
Amazeballs, yeah.
And by the way, and he's also a professor of Old Greek, so he has like
That makes sense, yeah.
entire episodes in Old Greek, which I'm just following the subtitles because
Yeah,
otherwise
I would have to do that too. But yeah, that's cool. I'll
very
look
cool.
it up. Yeah.
yeah. If you cannot find it, I will find it for sure, because it's one of my many favorite channels.
That's great.
So, where was I, mate?
You were talking about learning the hard way.
Yes, learning the hard way, and a thing we had to do, we had to search everywhere. So when we got to have internet, I think we were using Netscape or something. So way before
Google wasn't a thing then, yeah.
Yeah, when? Like 2007 or 2008 is Google, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I would say.
And
Like very early 2000s.
Yeah, we thought it was amazing because all of a sudden it was a search engine that worked, and you didn't have to do all kind of trickery.
Like magic rituals.
Exactly. Like, whew, you can find stuff. So yeah, we kind of had to do it the hard way, and we got very thorough. When we have to find something, we find it. We do it by the end of it. Now, like asking whatever AI for anything and everything, I think it dulls our intelligence and our senses. And I don't want to play the Boomer 2.0 thing, but I think it's a great tool. I'm using it every day. Again,
It's powerful, yes.
I'm not against it. And I think everyone should know how to use it. Right? It's one of those things. It's if you don't know how to use it, you get left behind, but like truly behind. On the other hand, I'm convinced we still need books. We still need penmanship. Yes, we still need peer-reviewed materials. You cannot trust anything. For example, just a very down-to-earth example. So I have this student. I'm teaching guitar. I'm also a guitar teacher. I'm teaching guitar. I have this student who is very, very, very passionate about learning music, and he pushes me to give him more and more and more. So I thought
cool. For a teacher, that's like
that's exactly, that's like turbo mode activated.
More.
Truly. And I actually told him that I'm really proud to have a student like him, because he motivates me to find cooler stuff to
makes you a better teacher as well in the process.
I hope so. he's going on vacation next week, so we wouldn't be able to see each other and have our guitar lesson. And he's still learning how to read musical notation, like the classical notation, so not the tabs and what's, let's say,
The
more
fingering thing from earlier
the fingering,
this
yes. Which
afternoon.
by the way, I sent him by mistake the homework that was intended to one of my students. Sorry, mate. I mean, the
No,
the
don't
fingering,
be.
the yeah,
That was
yeah,
really funny.
the joke is good, but yeah, it was yeah, by proxy, let's say.
Yeah.
So I asked because I was lazy on that afternoon. I was like, "Hey, ChatGPT, give me some rhythmical exercises written in standard musical notation on only one line. I don't need like the entire stave. Just give me one line, and use whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, and the appropriate rests." So it took it a while to generate like one PDF, and I started checking. First line, okay. Second line, really boring, but okay. Third line, okay. For seventh line, second bar, totally wrong. It went it was 4/4, but it wrote in 5/4. I was like, okay, that's odd. Yeah, it just added one more quarter note, which for someone
Why
who's
not?
learning music, I mean, that's like throwing a wrench in the gears, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's really bad. It's
And
really
like a kilogram of sand for good matter, yeah.
exactly. So
For good measure, yeah.
yeah, so I said, "Oh, you have some mistakes here. You just added an extra quarter note here as well. You added an extra quarter note rest. Please correct it and give me another one." It took it another good 3 minutes, maybe. Worse. By the third iteration, it was junk. It was already
Yeah.
like to be thrown away. So I was like, okay, no, you cannot. So the moral of the story, you cannot truly trust anything that AI, whatever it may be. So I'm not just trashing on ChatGPT. I'm just using it more than I've used, for example, Gemini, that with which I only had that dialogue, which was very interesting. But don't take anything at face value when it just gives it to you. As for sources, check it.
it yourself,
If you have the capacity and if you know what you're looking for, check it. Just don't
Yes, definitely.
don't just download it and share it away, because that's not good. That's not good.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, this might fall on us, like what are we, like millennials, millennials, whatever, to help the younger ones. Like I have kids, alphas, both of them boys, really smart guys, but also easily distracted by everything
Yeah.
because they're digitally natives and they're AI natives, and
The attention economy is a big problem.
but also for us, mate, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Have
know.
you observed yourself whenever you go down a rabbit hole? It's like hours pass by and you don't know what happened.
That's one of the reasons. I told you about the stuff experiments I did in that regard. That's the reason I do not look at short content, for example. I mean, sure, from time to time, somebody will send me a short, I'll look at it and I'll send it
like
on,
me.
yes.
Or like
But I make an effort to not do that. And it's hard because it's everywhere. You know, I make an effort not to consume it, just to look at a blank wall and, you know, embrace the boredom. I think that's the really important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not just our adaptability is a
Yeah.
superpower, but the capability of being bored is another superpower, because from that is where our creativity is coming from, right? I also have kids that are younger than yours. My older one is 6 years old, and she's like, "Oh, Dad, it's so boring. I want to do X, Y, Z." And usually that either means, you know,
Phone, tablet, whatever, electronic, yeah.
We play a Subnautica together, mostly just, you know, going through the ocean and looking at things and exploring. And I always tell her, like, so you're telling me you have a room full of books and toys, and all of them are boring, so I can throw everything out, right? You don't need them. No, that's not what I meant. And then we will have this discussion like
Yeah.
3 or 4 times, and then all of a sudden she's gone for 2 hours, you know, and then she built something with Legos or
Exactly.
so. I think that's important, and we should embrace it more, 100%.
Yeah.
I also don't think the AI is deteriorating our intelligence necessarily. I think it's deteriorating our ability to learn. I think that's the problem. Because what you were describing earlier, having to learn everything the hard way by tinkering and trying and then iterating over things, this friction, that's what we need to learn. Because we usually do not learn from success. We learn from the mistakes we make, like much more, right?
That's
That's what the AI is taking away, kind of.
Yeah.
I see it with my team. So I work in IT. I'm a solution architect. I have a fantastic team of very competent developers, and we do use AI. We kind of also have to, and it's a great tool. But for example, we agreed to put a note with every code commit we make, assisted by the model XYZ. Why do we do that? The idea is, if you as a developer want to use it, but you're responsible for it, right? And I was going this way because all my people, they are very experienced. They have like everyone, when they started in the team, they had like 5 to 20 years of experience. And they had it because they learned from all the mistakes they made. Myself included. The biggest learnings I had was from mistakes that I made. I would look back and I was like, man, what a moron you were like 3 weeks ago. How could you not see this, right? And I think we need to create the opportunity for young people to go through these experiences. Be it like with the trainees we have in the department right now, or with our kids, because we need this ability to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. One of the news that broke off, I think a couple of days ago, I think Meta and Google, so the Alphabet, and also X and everything X related, they lost a court case in the United States, which proved that all their short content is addictive, exactly like gambling is.
Yes, I mean...
No, it was proved,
Yeah,
scientifically proved, and they lost in court.
They have huge teams and departments of psychologists and psychiatrists whose sole job is to structure these platforms in a way that keeps people on. Yeah, that's addiction. It's like cocaine or heroin.
Yeah, and it seems like they're employing the same mechanism as casinos do.
Yeah,
which is
pretty much
horrible, because while casinos, for example, in the United States, you have to be at least 21 to step
enter,
in one of them, and in Europe 18. Social media is for everyone. And TikTok and Instagram and anything like that is highly addictive, and like YouTube Shorts, anything exactly like you said, like short content that you can just scroll, and you get into this doom scrolling pattern that I also recognize myself. I'm doing sometimes, and then I'm like, whoa, stop, is not good. So what I was thinking exactly right now, so not going totally boomer, but I think we need that friction of learning by mistakes, but I think we could use AI as a sandbox and doing those mistakes in a very confined space and safe space, maybe, because
safe in quotes though,
as safe as one can have it, right? because I think we can also remember the consequences of our mistakes,
Yes.
which were not pleasant at all, right?
No,
So
not
while I
necessarily.
don't want to keep anyone from life experience and experiencing life in its fullness, some experiences I think you can do without, right? So
Yes,
having
100%.
having a senior whatever screaming in your face for doing a really messed up thing,
Yeah.
you know? Oh,
I mean, I don't know what you mean. I never did anything.
yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
me
but,
neither,
you know,
me
yeah.
neither. I'm just talking
I
about.
heard about it.
I'm a friend of mine. Yeah,
Exactly. Asking
So-
for a friend.
having that happening to you is, I mean, it builds character, sure. But I think we can do without as much distraction.
Yeah.
And going back to where we started, war and the Shiva-like behavior. Because, by the way, in my discussion with Gemini, I went fully philosophical, and I went with the Vedic and Indian pantheon, the Brahman and the Vishnu and Shiva, which I think is in all of us. We're all creators and keepers and destructors. Destroyers, yes. Destroyers. And but I think we're kind of at the end of this fine thing.
Damn, that went by really, really
Like
fast.
really fast today, right?
Yeah, man, we haven't talked in 2 weeks, so
True, and we still have a ton of extra extra topics. By the way, we keep on sending, like we did before, short messages that get progressively longer in our chat, and we have like a ton of extra topics to talk about. For example, I really want to touch on the music
thing.
Newman and phenomenon, or Newman or phenomenon thing. I wrote like a short article of sorts about
by
this.
the way, music. I have a new favorite video game soundtrack
Oh, really?
thingy. Yeah. So, as you know, when I have a little bit of time, right now I'm playing The Witcher 3.
Oh, cool.
And I finally made it to the Skellige Islands. And
Okay.
they are inspired by Vikings.
Nice.
And the theme, I think it's called Fields of Artskellig, the main island.
All right.
It's just, oh my god. It's like, there's the Lord of the Rings soundtrack with like the Shire theme
Right.
and like the forest themes. And then that's like, next thing is that.
All right.
I've been listening to a 2-hour version of that the whole afternoon.
Nice.
like, oh my god, yeah, I could like really, I don't know why, but I could kind of fall into the music. It was very meditative and relaxing. So yeah,
Very nice.
there you go.
So yeah, next time we'll go with maybe a bit more light-hearted topics.
Don't promise stuff, dude. Come
No,
on.
I mean, maybe we'll start with something more lighthearted, and I'm pretty sure we'll go into the deep
We're
and
like,
dark ones.
oh, deep dark rabbit hole. What could happen? Let's go. Yeah.
Let's see.
So yeah, let us know in the comments if there are anything or any topics you want us to cover or talk about. And yeah, thanks for joining. Great to have you back, man.
Thank you very much. Great to see you again.
Talk to you next week.
All right. See you.
Ciao, pescado.
Ciao.